I think we're live. A little bit early, a little bit of a change of format. What's happening, everybody? That ain't changing. I hope you're having a great whatever day you're watching this. So I'm going to start going on a little bit earlier, primarily so I can end a little bit earlier. Waking up crazy early is, well, ain't all that fun. And so since I'm having to wake up earlier, I'm going to go on a little bit later. So I wanted to do a bit of an open chat and talk to you guys a little bit about something. Let's see, is this light better? Oh, good Lord. Look like I'm in an old show. I ain't doing that one. Anyway, want to talk to you guys about something, leaving this to be a little bit about more or less an open chat, primarily because I know y'all are going to want to talk about the conflicting, motor trend versus a couple of other folks, with the different reports that are coming out with Mopar, like, yeah, we're going to have a V8. Nope, sorry, we're not going to have a V8, or yeah, it's going to be all inline six, or no, we're going to be going to all that. There's so many conflicting things going on. We can definitely touch on that. Anthony G's in, Chuck's in. What's up, fellas? So we're talking about that, but we're also going to talk a little truck stuff because so y'all know I got a Ford background, right? Like, I was into Fords way before I was into Mopars, even though my first car was a Dodge and I learned how to drift in my grandfather's old D150. But the fact of the matter is, personally, I got a soft spot for Ford, and I went and gone up and done something, and I'm going to do it again tomorrow, but I did something. I didn't order anything, not yet, but I got to tell you, the F-150 with the 5-liter. Guys, if you haven't driven one and you're thinking about getting a truck, drive the Ford either at the very first one you drive or drive it last. I'm going to be doing some comparison shopping this week, coming into this weekend. I have got to get an order on the books, though, fairly quickly. Primarily because of build time and build dates. One of the issues is that vehicles are taking a lot longer to, make. And if you don't have an order on the books here, it's going to take, 4-6 months to get one of these things built. So the way timelines work out, this is kind of just where we're at. Anyway, went and drove one of the Fords, Ford F-150 with the 5-liter. Now, let's kind of roll this back. Remember, I drove the 3.5-liter EcoBoost with the Max Tow package. If you're not familiar with that, that is, in my case, an extended cab with a long bed 3.5-liter EcoBoost with a 373 gear. So the most powerful engine they make with the absolute most aggressive gear that they have. Truck ran pretty good, but I'm just not an EcoBoost guy. I know that I can option an EcoBoost with 355 gear, but let's just say that I'm not trusting that 3.5-liter EcoBoost is probably as much as I should. But I drove the 5-liter. The funny thing is, the feeling of the 5-liter versus the EcoBoost is that the 5-liter feels like it pulls stronger on the back half of a pull, basically from 4,000, probably 5,000 RPM on, and it sounds like it's high. It revs to 7,000 RPM, guys. All right, the 5-liter is revving to 7,000 RPM. So on the highway, you nail it, and that truck just pulls and pulls and pulls and pulls and pulls and pulls, even with a 331 gear. Now, granted, it had some fairly large tires on it too, which in this case, I was driving a 4-wheel drive truck. My truck would be more street centric, so I'm going to obviously bring it a little bit lower to the ground. But that 5-liter, guys, with the fact that they're pumping that engine sound into the cab, whatever, with anything else that you've driven, the 5-liter sounds obnoxiously good, and it is snappy, and on the highway, she rolls. And the truck that I would order would be a solid, probably 500 pounds lighter at least than the truck that I drove. And that would even be with the gear. So anyway, we can talk trucks too, because I am like clean deep into truck stuff right now. But in talking to my good buddy Quick Brick, he's got a 5-liter F-150 he's completely in love with. I can tell you that no, it doesn't ride as good as the Dodge, but the Ford feels a little bit more youthful in some ways. And the fact that it's flex fuel compatible, it's got sport mode, eco mode, tow mode, do this mode, do that mode, whatever kind of mode you want. There's just a lot of gadgets and gizmos, and I am a stone cold sucker for gimmicky stuff like that. So anyway, let me get to you guys real quick, and then we will jump into a few other things. Bear with me here, fellows. Yeah, so Stormy may end up being a Ford. Eric saying, good evening, Professor B. What's up, Eric? Ardell Zen said, hey, B, what's up? What's up, man? Steven Zen said, hey, Mason, I've been here years. Usually watch on TV, so came on phone chat to let you know I still support you. Man, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Steven. I appreciate that a ton. Really do appreciate that. My old school Mason's mob in the house. I like it. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Ardell saying, I've been a Ford person too. Yep. Matt saying, test drove one, loved it. Talking about the 5.0. Guitar Man saying, hey, Uncle B, what's up, Guitar Man? Ardell's loving his Ford F-150. Ardell, bro, you and I might be flying Ford Blue here pretty soon with our trucks. I got to tell you guys something, man. Look, I love the Ram, don't get me wrong. It's a great truck. It does truck stuff. It rides beautifully. But, man, I want something a little bit more, let me rephrase this, a little bit less old manny. And in fact, I love the Ram, I really do. But the issue that I have with the Ram is that I can't option the Ram really the way that I want it. Truth be told, I can't option the Ford really the way that I want it. I am going to play a little bit of hardball with my dealership. I'm going to see if I can force the issue of them putting a 373 gear in that truck. If that's the case, be ordering one up tomorrow. So anyway, it's not a factory option, a bull thing. But look, man, in this economy, if I'm going to be paying as much as I'm going to be paying for this truck, which is kind of a base model anyway, because y'all know I like my base model stuff. If I'm going to be paying that much money, come on, man, hook a Brian up. But anyway, Blue Vikings asking, does McLaren compete with Lamborghini and Ferrari? Well, yeah, they kind of do, because it's basically the same type of vehicle. But I can tell you that McLaren's customer service, from my understanding, is really, really good. And Lamborghini seems to be okay too. Nothing like Ferrari. So Ferrari's not really my cup of tea when it comes to that. X is saying, what up, Professor B? I don't have my shades, but he's got the cadence right. I like it. The more I think about truck options that we have discussed, I cannot comprehend why a company would not allow multiple custom builds for customers to create. Man, I got to tell you something. I've been biding my time really to start complaining about this, because none of them, not even one truck company offers an option that I would actually go, oh yeah, let me check that off. Ooh, neato, mosquito. It's not there. It kind of, except for Ford. Hey, listen, at least Ford lets me option a 331, which I guess is kind of closer. I need to do some more homework. I need to get the, or if you guys have it up, the 10-speed, the Ford F-150 10-speed gear ratios. That's something I haven't looked up yet, because I got to put that into our gear ratio calculator and play around with that a little bit. Hang on just a second. But yeah, if you guys have that like at your fingertips, let's see what we've got here just on a quick, let's see, 2022, almost said Ram, Ford F-150, because you got to be specific. Transmission ratios. And it's kind of funny, you start getting into some of this stuff, and it's like, man, what's the difference between each one? This one is showing a 469, 298 gear split. So that would be less aggressive than the HP 75 that's coming out here pretty soon. Well, it is already been out for 2019. I don't know that there's going to be any revisions to that. At least that's what the first website that I'm looking at is showing. So anyway, if you guys know what they are off the top of your head, let me know. Let's see what we've got here. The 10R80. Yeah, I'm still showing 469 on that. So for that first gear. So anyway, I'm gonna play with that spreadsheet that we've got and check it out. Catalyst, thank you very much. Saying I don't think the Whipple 3.8 will come out anytime soon. Think of going Whipple 3.0 instead of pushing the IHI the limits. Thoughts? Yeah, so here's the thing. The 3.0 Whipple is going to do a couple of things for you. It's got less. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, man. Appreciate that. Oh, what happened? Here we go. The Whip 3.0 has some things really going for it. One is a lighter weight rotating assembly in general. It's got less inertial drag. It seems to be a bit more efficient in general than even the 2.4 IHI, but it's on par and arguably better than the IHI 3.0 that is in the Elephant crate motor. So with that being said, the 3.0 is going to give you all the headroom you need. If you want to boost the thing to the sky, the 3.0 will definitely take you where you need to be. Easy 8-second supercharger if you wanted to push it to that level. So there's that. It's going to typically have cooler discharge temps than the IHI. So as a blower upgrade, the 3.0 whip is actually good on a number of levels, even before you start trying to throw the kitchen sink at it with boost. Now, that being said, if I were to do a blower swap on my car, it would be the 3.0 Whipple, and I would just chill it out to the point where it was only making maybe 16 pounds of boost. It would be a cooler 16 pounds of boost with less inertial load. In other words, it's just easier to spin the lobes because it don't weigh as much. So couple that with lower downstream temps, and it would be a really, really sweet deal. The only I say that unless I could get my hands on a 3.0 IHI, just because it'd be kind of cool to, just take one off and put the other one on there. But the 3.0 whip will take you as far as you really want to go. Again, everybody's making the switch to the 3.0 whip, and they're not even overly concerned about when the 3.8 is going to ever hit the market. So buy with confidence, my friend. I appreciate that very, very much. I really do. But yeah, it's just one of those weird things where it's the next evolution of supercharger technology. Oh, Matt's saying I was blown away by the 5.0 and the 10-speed in a standard cab short box. Yeah, I mean, so the truck that I'm looking at will probably weigh about 300-ish pounds more than that truck. Oh, and here's the twist. The Ford is lighter than the Dodge also. So a lot of things in the Ford's favor as far as that goes. Chuck's saying his Super Duty V10 was leagues better than the Silverado Ion. I loved the V10 and the Super Duties. That was actually a really good engine. It was used in motorhomes a lot. Saying that thing was great in the woods, I bet. Marco's saying sitting in his Redeye that he just bought. Man, congratulations, Marco, on the Redeye. That's awesome, brother. Sweet. What color did you get? That's very awesome, brother. J Master saying, what up, Professor B? Got the flex, saying, hope all is well. Hope all is well with you, my friend. Hope you like the inside look of the Gatorade process working right now. Awesome. So, hey, I got my purple. Where do I look on this thing to see where it was made? Because I was actually looking. I got to get my glasses of reading real quick. Hang on. But yes, supporting you, brother. We have ditched the Powerade and have moved back because they got purple now. But went back to G0, man. You told me you worked there, so I wanted to make sure that I gave you some love. But thank you. Yeah, that was awesome. I love that kind of stuff. X is saying, hell yeah, B. Press them on that Gear Race show. If they know you'll pay for it, they'd be stupid to refuse. Yeah, I'm not trying to ask for it for free. Here's the thing. How about this? Throw in the gear and I'll pay for the labor to have it installed. If there's a tune revision or whatever, just do that too while it's sitting in there. Like, in other words, like the Speedo gear or whatever. Put it in a box, put a little bow on it or what. I am willing to do this if they agree to this. Guys, today I will say this right now. If they agree to do this, I will order the truck and pay for the gear up front tomorrow afternoon. I've already got it built in the system. If they agree to do that, a 355 or a 373, I'd be cool with either, prefer 373. Then consider that done, and we'll see what ends up happening. That would be awesome, though. Matt's saying, pretty sure the 355 is the most you can get with the 50. It is, and you have to get the max tow package, which means the absolute longest wheelbase that they sell, unfortunately. And again, Catalyst, thank you, buddy. Ardell saying, my F-150 has a 10-speed trans. It is a different duck. I do like it. Nice. Oh, LeBron's asking, if the drag pack Challenger is a 5.7 liter Hemi block, why do 5.7s get such a bad rap? So there's a few things different with that, with the drag pack block, but in essence, it's 300 and it's still a 5.7. They shouldn't. The reason why the 5.7 gets a bad rap is because it's the corporate V8 in a muscle car. It's there to give you the sound, the experience, to give you all the power you need to smoke the tires, but it's not for a lot, by the way. 5.7 is a stout motor. It'll give you all of that, but it's just not the top tier naturally aspirated performance engine. And when you have cars that don't compete, see, you got to remember one thing about the 5.7, guys, and this is something that I've tried to explain, and for whatever reason, this argument never seems to find a home with folks. And unless you own one and you know what I'm talking about, let me just put you like this. The 5.7 has absolutely no competitor in the marketplace whatsoever. People go, okay, look, here's what I mean by that. The Camaro, there was never a 5.7 liter Camaro, and then you could get a 6.2. There was never a whatever, let's say 3.5 liter V8, I don't know, for Ford. There was the Eco 4-cylinder boost turbo thing, but that, I guess you could kind of call that a 3.5 or a 5.7 competitor, but it takes a certain kind of ass to fit in that seat, and it's not the kind that buys muscle cars and is listening for a V8 sound. It's just a different way of coming at the automotive scene. So the 5.7 never had a direct line of sight competitor, so it would get thrown into the ring with a 5-liter Mustang. It would get thrown into the ring with a 392, and it was just never, or a 6, obviously a Camaro. It never got the love because it never got an opportunity to compete at its own weight class. I am a big fan of the 5.7. As a matter of fact, I find it to be a bit criminal that the 5.7 was never optioned with a 370 rear gear set with the HP70 transmission. That would have been frighteningly fun. And if nothing else, allow for a 331 gear set for both the 392 and the 5.7. That's another point altogether. But where I'm going with this is that the 5.7 was never really truly given an opportunity to compete as a naturally aspirated option with anybody. And so people have said, it's the base model V8. Well, kinda, but at 370 horsepower and basically 400 pound-feet of torque, it's hardly weak. And it motivates motivates Challengers and Chargers to run just fine. And even if you back one of them up with a 309 limited slip diff, they run just fine. In fact, I can make an argument, the same argument, mind you, that I make about the Scat Pack versus the Hellcat, with maybe not as much variance. You could make the same argument with the 5.7 if you put a 309 limited slip in the thing, in that you can use all of the power all of the time. You put a set of drag radials on the back of it, it will always dead hook. And the stoplight to stoplight battle starts to get a little bit more tilted in the favor of the 5.7. Just don't make sure that the 392 you're running doesn't have drag radials on the back and a driver that has any real practice, because in that case, the big brother's going to win every time. But little brother can give him all he can handle, at least if nothing else, drive him nuts. Matt's saying, as childish as it sounds, I think the Hellcat blower sounds better. The Whipples are so quiet. The IHI sounds really good, I have to admit. Hemi Dad saying, Professor B, just get a white TRX and put a toolbox on it. Job done. I tell you what, if I could come up with the funds for one, I probably would. But man, I'm just, when it comes to trucks, I really am more of a, with a lot of things, I bookend a lot of stuff. I either like base model or I like top of the line stuff. So yeah, TRX would definitely be top shelf, but man, I tell you what, that's a lot of truck too. Just can't swing it. Oh, Marco says it's black with a wide body. Nice. Very nice. Oh, well, of course, yeah, sweet. So he got the, I'm guessing it's a black wide body. Beautiful. That's an awesome looking car. You're going to love that car too, man. Oh, Ardell said he still has his 1999 F250 V10 with 254,000 miles, and it runs great. Keep the oil change, she always will. Date code above the label. If it has RV, we made it. So, hang on. Date code above the, oh shit, I just found it. Where are my glasses of reading? Hang on. If it's RV, he made it. I have, let's see, April 05/23. That's the expiration date. 0721, it's DL. DL 07 0924. Let's see if there's any other numbers. So I don't know if you made this one. This one is yeah, it looks like this one is DL. Where's DL? Y'all have a Dallas plant or something? Anyway, that's where this one came from. That was super cool, man. I love that kind of stuff. Thank you for sending it to me, bud. X is saying, exactly, from a business perspective, it's a win-win. Yeah, I mean, look, plus, listen, if a dealership works with me on that kind of level, I'm going to prop them up, pump them up, and do all kinds of stuff. That I'll do everything I can. If they're doing what they can for me, I want to do for them. If I get somebody that just doesn't want to play ball, I'll find somebody in that building that wants to play ball. You know what I mean? Cal said, well, the drag pack is a full-on race motor. Oh, yeah, there's nothing. And that's the other thing, man. The drag pack is 100% race only. That's not an engine that would translate into street use. Oh, Steven's saying, I don't know, my Cummins Turbo Dodge Quad Cab 4x4 2500 front axle maxes out if you have 300-pound front passenger. Can't put a snowplow or anything up front. Oh, that's right. Interesting. I didn't know that about those trucks. You know, it was weird that when I was doing the build your own for the Dodge, they do have a snowplow. They get it ready for you if you want to have a snowplow. Oh, Steven's hanging out with Ardell. Nice. Saying loves his Gen 2. Oh, Chuck saying, I love my 5.7 Shaker. It was a beautiful car. It's just after 2 years of ownership, I wanted one of my dream cars, the Scat Pack. Very nice. Yeah, it's an awesome car. And I'm telling you guys, listen, the Scat Pack, arguably the best value out of all of them in terms of the best compromise and blend of usable power, comfort, obviously, very solid. Road going manners are incredibly good. That is a car that you can have for a long time, drive it as fast and as far as you want and never get tired. And you should be able to. I mean, it's based off of the W211 Mercedes-Benz platform, which is what my E63 was, and W212 suspension bits, which is S-Class bits. Bruce said, hook a Brian up, I'm dead. Loving it. Sweet. See, I just gotta find it. I gotta find a fellow bald brother in there, man. I need to find one of my brethren, one of my follically impaired brethren that I can get a connection with. To say, come on, man, the struggle is real. Because we stick together. There's a common understanding with us follically challenged individuals. X is saying, I love my 572. I have the performance pages in it, and that sold it for me, plus the exhaust sound. They sound amazing. Mopar Omar, cool name. I like it. Thanks for all the info, everyone. I love my 2021 5.7 Hemi, and I have a lot of fun with it. And with me coming from a V6, I just had to ask, thanks again, Mr. Mason. Oh, yeah, you bet. No, listen, and the thing is, look, to me, I feel it's punching down to say anything negative about a 5.7 when the 5.7 is the most choked out of all of them. And guys, I mean all of them. The 5.7 is choked in the exhaust. The intake manifold's actually pretty good. In fact, the intake manifold flows every bit as well as the 6.1 Hemi intake does. So there's that. But they're choked on exhaust. They're designed to run, they're tuned to run on basically junk fuel. So the 5.7, you get all the fun with none of the hangups. And people go, what does that mean? I've had this argument with people when they go, well, why do you, like, what is my deal with the 5.7? Well, you have to remember, I drive one every day. It's my work truck. I've put over 300,000 miles on 5.7 work trucks. And so there's that. I mean, I've got experience with them that way. The thing that I like about the 5.7, though, is you can run it on 87 octane. You can put mufflers on it. And you don't have to tune or do anything. You still get all of the noise, and it will still do plenty good burnouts. You basically get all of the fun with, it's kind of like just like being able to see the show without really having to pay for a ticket. So, no, it's not going to be top of the food chain when it comes to performance. But what designates performance? If you want something that is faster, snappier, that's going to be a more well-rounded driving experience, that's the Scat Pack, plain and simple. That's not a knock on the 5.7. That's a statement of, although subjective, fact. But the 5.7, again, you get all the theater at a smaller cover charge ticket price, if you will. So, anyway, y'all know where I'm going with that. Matt's saying, a quick HP70 question. Yes, my RAM has one. I've already done service and deleted that thermostat along with the Diablo Sport Trans Tune. Is there anything valve body wise I can improve on it? Not really. The problem with, no, aside from a transmission tune, which is also going to include an engine and trans side, because they are married. You don't really have to do anything with the valve body at all. In other words, there are services that modify the valve body. You got to remember that's where your transmission controller is. It's in the valve body. I wouldn't suggest it. There's really no reason to. The HP70 is already really good, and there's some things you can change in the tune to crisp it up a little bit. But I can tell you that, at least in my experience, and my experience is now a couple of years old with removed, I should say, a couple of years removed from it. But aftermarket manufacturers that were messing with the valve bodies had made them this is also including some internal stuff on the transmission, made it way too aggressive, to the point where it was practically undrivable. Like you were concerned that something was going to be breaking soon. So don't worry about the valve body. Hold what you got, and I think you're going to be just fine. I think you're well on your way. But if it isn't tuned, go for it. Catalyst asking, do you think they should bring back the show Pinks? Dude, I haven't thought about that show in forever. I had a couple of buddies of mine that were on Pinks, but that was Pinks All Out, and it's been, again, obviously forever ago. I think you would have to do it. You would have to do it in the Pinks All Out type of format. The original Pinks deal, I mean, it was real, dude. If you won the car, you won the car, and if you lost your car, you did lose your car. That probably wouldn't play well today, but the Pinks All Out series and the Pinks All Out Racing was actually pretty good stuff. But the event was a nightmare to put together, and I know that just from talking to folks that kind of worked in and around production and with some of those guys. This is me going back like a lot of years too, by the way, guys. So, but it's a cluster because you end up. So the main issue is that you have to stop the number of cars that you're bringing in. You have to stop that number somewhere around 400 to 450 total cars, and it's a process to whittle these things down. You get all kinds of stuff, and the problem is that a lot of the cars that showed up broke. So you would go to a Pinks All Out event, and you get 4 or 5 cars deep into it, and then somebody's car would, blow up. It's like crap. So getting things passed and through tech, it was really more a function of making sure you had quality stuff that was showing up. The other side of it too is it was almost always a 10-second field, and it was rarely a 9-second field. I don't think it was ever an 8-second field, and every once in a while you'd see an 11-second field. I think that was cool. The show that I would like to see come back would be the name just jumped out of my head. Pastime, the one where you had to guess what the car was going to run. That show I liked a lot. That was a neat show. But Pinks would be tough to do today. J Masters in said, I have a hankering for building a short bed Dakota with a 392 and paddle shifters. I don't know why, but I'm eat up with those trucks. Boosted. What the boost? Crap. Boosted something or another has that one that he's doing, the Dakota with the Hellcat, but it'd be the same thing. It'd be fun. It'd be a 392 would be a whole lot of fun. There for a minute, we were kind of messing with some engine swap stuff, the D100, the Roadrunner, some more higher end stuff, but the high, I never could get into some of the higher end builds, man. You guys have put like multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars into some of these cars, and you just you don't even want to go near them. In fact, we had the Enigma Camaro was at the shop for forever, and I drove it, I'd move it around, I would get in it, I would do whatever I had to do, and then I was just I didn't even want to. I hated going anywhere near that car. Anytime anybody walked in the shop and they were looking at it and like getting anywhere near it, it was like, get away from that thing. Oh, Steve was saying, Snow Commander's factory Dodge Myers plow. I bought 9 or 10 of those trucks. First was 1982. Oh, cool. I like the specialty type builds too. A lot of people just they get overlooked for, I don't know why. Cal saying, I'm bald as hell. My hair is never coming back. Right there with you. Oh, Dr. Def at Cattle saying put a Sonax zip kit in the valve body. Yeah, it might work. Yeah, talking to Matt. Sorry, wrong person. Yeah, Matt saying he was looking at that kid, didn't know if it was worth it. For the HP 70 stuff, I'd focus more on getting a tune for it. Mike's got a good question, asking what kind of life expectancy does the 8-speed tranny fluid have in the 5.7 before I should consider a service? So, okay, this is one of those do as I say, not as I do. Follow every recommendation that you have in the owner's manual. I think that, the transmissions are fill for life. But here's the thing. As far as you're going to wear the clutches out before you're going to wear the fluid out. Unless you're towing a lot of weight for long distances. You're more than likely going to cook clutches beforehand. I will tell you this. In the fleet it's dwindling down now because some of these trucks are hitting mileage numbers now that they're getting kind of kicked out of the pool. But in the fleet, we have all DS tradesmen Ram 1500s. All of them, except for like 3, I think, are Hemis. All of them 321 geared trucks. All of these trucks get the crap driven out of them. I mean, I don't know of any of them that aren't at freaking wide open throttle all the time. Here's the thing. They've never had their transmission fluid changed. In some of them, the last one that just went to auction had 311,000 miles on it. Now, that truck spent most of its life at about 90 miles an hour, literally, in the middle of the desert. So, if that tells you anything. So, it's hard for me to tell you what the longevity is. Dr. Diff may be able to have a better assessment of that. I've never seen any kind of failure that I'm aware of on a transmission that had anything to do with fluid. As long as it's not leaking, I think you'll be in good shape. Ardell saying, there's a lot of fun driving a 5.7 and it makes it affordable. Yeah, and the fact that it is significantly more affordable makes it pretty good, too. Oh, Matt's saying 40 to 60,000 under normal use, talking about the swapping out fluid. I haven't done any of that to mine. It keeps going. I'd have to look in the owner's manual. I, honest to goodness, haven't messed with it. Marco saying, I hope I love it. It costs a lot. It costs a fortune, but listen, anything worth having is worth working for, and anything worth working for is going to be expensive. So, no, you're absolutely going to love that car. In fact, the thing about the Redeye that makes it so great is the fact that it is so the Hellcat is way over-engineered. And then some, but not to the extent that the Redeye is. The Redeye is over-engineered in a way that it just takes the Hellcat to the next level. Dual pumps, better pistons, the larger supercharger obviously helps with that. There's other stuff in the tune that actually kind of aids in a little bit of, it's not as aggressive of a tune, so you get all the power, but kind of some of the less of the headaches. Anyway, it's a really good package, and it's got some upside. It's a 9-second car with a tune, and with an E85 tune, it's a good 9-second, like a 980, 970 car. And with weight reduction, you can get one pretty close to the 9s. In fact, I think that my car with my tune on it is about as fast as a stock tune stripped to the hilt, same as mine, race prepped Redeye. So it's a really good platform. Oh, Dr. Div's hanging out with Matt again, saying, definitely worth it. I built probably a couple of dozen of the HP 70s over the last 3 years, and it's been the only kit I've found that corrects the 2-1 bump that they get. Dr. Div says, yes, the HP 70 is a great transmission. The later transmission tunes will eliminate that bump a little bit, I have found. J Master saying, oh, his first car was a 2019 5.7 Challenger. Love that car, but I beat the ever-living piss out of it. Zero issues, just hated the open diff that it had. That, yeah. Matt saying that I do have that 2.1 sometimes. The tune definitely calmed it down, though. Yep. Saying zip kit and be done with that 2.1 bump. For some reason, tuning causes it every so often. I don't know what the tune what in the tune causes it, but happens in my experience. Put the zip kit in and it'll correct it. Eric's asking, what are your thoughts on what announcement will be for the first day of Dodge's Speed Week? Do you still think it'll just be another take on the current Hellcat, maybe a 426? Well, here's the problem with the 426. It won't be in this platform, I'll tell you that for sure. Meaning the LX platform that we all have. I don't even want to talk about the 426 realistically. It's more of a hypothetical, like, what if? Primarily because getting a 426 to pass emissions is harder than putting a 392 that can be grandfathered into the car. The 392 already has an executive order. To give you an idea, they had to make changes to the calibration to the 2020 and up for sure. Possibly the 2019 and up Hellcat variants, just to keep them somewhat emissions compliant. A lot of that had to do with catalytic converter temperatures. So that's one of the reasons why the newer cars go into cat overtemp like that. Like it's obnoxious how quick they go into cat overtemp. So quickly, as a matter of fact, that I'm not sure that they're making their rated horsepower. I don't think that they're running any more boost with them. So, but when you go to 9.7 to 1 AFR, and it happens like basically on the 1-2 shift, that can be a bit of a problem. So, anyway, a 426 is going to be harder primarily because of NOx. And not NOx like NOx and pings, but NOx, nitrous oxide emissions, which is just a product of combustion. It's oxides of nitrogen that are causing the problem for most of these guys. Well, another reason why, by the way, that what would seem to be extremely low-hanging fruit, in other words, tune calibrations for Hellcats, Redeyes, whatever, why they're not getting an executive order is because they simply can't get the things to pass emissions. Even I believe I would be, well, hold on. I don't want to get to making things up here, but I would venture a guess, I would wager as well, that the issue that you're running into with them trying to get those calibrations, an executive order, which is just to say it passes your cool test by the EPA. What is probably causing that is tip-in fuel enrichment and catalytic converter temperatures during what would in essence be power enrichment mode. And I have a feeling that if once it's pulleyed, it could be getting into some inferred cat temps that are just too high. So I just, as somebody who's seen data logs, who's data log cars, that knows what catalytic converter temperatures can look like, I would say that that's probably it. Now, on the tuning side, there's a lot of liberties taken with catalytic converter temperatures, and that's kind of an understood thing, because you don't want the car to go crazy rich, especially Hellcats, because there's not a lot of overhead for injector duty cycle. I've almost gone out on a limb, although it's not totally necessary. If you live at sea level, it might be a good idea to swap out a set of Demon injectors if you're planning on tuning your car and leaving any of those protections in place. But and sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. So as far as the announcement goes, what'll be the take on the Hellcat? The Hellcat's going away ish. This is where it starts to really depend on which source you want to believe. I mean, this is a want to believe thing, not a believe thing. But it depends on what source you want to believe. If you believe that Dodge is going to keep flying that internal combustion flag high, well, then there's some options. Now, here's the weird thing. I don't know of any smaller displacement Hemi that's out there except for the 5.7. And I don't know. Also, keep in mind, there's no dimensional difference between a 5.7 and a 6.4, or 6.2 for that matter. They're all basically using the same block, just a different bore size for the 5.7, which is the only thing that separates it from the Hellcat engine, by the way, in terms of displacement. They both share the same crankshaft. They share the same crank stroke. But what I'm getting at here is, if Dodge were to do anything different than moving forward with a Hemi of some kind, whatever they're going to call a Hemi, because this is one of the things I was talking to somebody about, this is the 904 project, which goes back to the 60s, early 70s. Dodge had a 4-valve Hemi. They called it a Hemi. And it was not only 4-valve Hemi, it was an overhead cam 4-valve Hemi that was based on the 426 and was, in essence, going to be their ultimate NASCAR engine. And a Buick had one. I think Chevrolet might have been the only real player, and Chevrolet and Ford might have not had them. But anyway, there was movement in that direction. And so I guess the point that I'm making here is, are they going to call a 4-cam motor V8, if it's small or dimensionally, at least in terms of displacement, are they going to call that a Hemi? Are they going to try to get away with that? Keeping in mind that even a small displacement Hemi is a big engine in that respect. If you're talking again about a Pentastar engine being a Hemi, just like the 5-liter Ford is the same Pentastar head that you would see. So, just curious. I mean, that would be what I would look at for that. If they did a complete engine revision, the thing is you're not hearing about that. You're not hearing about Dodge going, hey, we've got the new whatever engine coming out, and this is what's going to be in our new platform. This is going to be the outro for the 2-valve old school Hemi. This is going to be the intro for the new Pentasnapper V8 go fast motor we're going to put in everything moving forward. Naturally aspirated forced induction turbos, maybe. How do you get to a horsepower number the easy way? Well, it's turbos, and so small displacement, maybe a 4-liter V8. That starts to sound a lot like BMW and Mercedes-Benz territory. So it's not like it isn't done already and done really well. It's going to be curious to see. I'm with you guys. I don't know. It's hard to tell. You're getting conflicting stories from this side, that side, up, down, everywhere. There's so many conflicting stories that you don't really know what to go with. And so my hope is that the new platform, which, guys, keep in mind, they've been talking about a new platform for this car for ages, and then it came out that they were going to use a Ghibli platform, and before that it was the Giulia platform, and we were supposed to already have it. The Giulia platform was supposed to already have been a thing. That obviously didn't happen, and then the Ghibli platform was what we were supposed to see for 2023. Well, obviously that didn't happen, and so I now it looks like the Ghibli platform may like either a super modified LX platform to kind of walk in lockstep with that to be shared across brands would probably be the smartest play. As long as it holds a V8, it'll be great. So it's just one of those things where they got to put a V8 in the thing, right? Like, look at it like this. If you're Dodge, how do you sell an engine platform that's not a V8? I mean, look, Dodge has created, unbeknownst to them, this, believe me, was not done by, it was not done on purpose. But Dodge figured out a way to bookend the Mustang in 2008. When the Mustang was not the Coyote, and when the Mustang was just the 3-valve, that's when we got the Challenger. You had the SRT8. Ford had the GT500. But it bookended the Mustang really well in terms of driving experience. And when the Coyote was released, that bookend became a little bit wider and more pronounced. Big displacement, lots of torque, lots of tip-in throttle response, American muscle car versus high winding, screams at the top of its lungs, deep breathing, high revving 5-liter. Two completely different driving experiences. You could have, and you guys have heard me say this over and over again, you could have both of them in your garage and have a completely different driving experience one to the next. Well, then Camaro tried to step in and Jolene the whole thing, and we already saw what that got us, or at least got them. But I don't know. I think really when you look at it, if Dodge steps back or tries to do something that is in Ford's wheelhouse, Ford is not going to be the one with the problem. Dodge will be. You guys have heard me say this before too. This is where GM screwed up. You cannot out Mustang the Mustang. The Mustang does Mustang stuff way better than anybody else does Mustang stuff. So Dodge stays in their wheelhouse, Ford stays in their wheelhouse, and these ships are chugging along just fine. Keep in mind, people love them some big displacement, low-end torque hot rods because Challengers have outsold Mustangs now, I think, for like the third or second quarter in a row. That's huge. And so it again illustrates just how strong the market is for that kind of car. So, I mean, it's what all their marketing is based around. And this is, I could literally do an entire show based solely on this topic. But for me, what I see as being a problem is that Dodge as a brand has always been looking over their shoulder, haven't they? They've always been like shoveling nostalgia down your throat like it's free lasagna. It's like you can't get enough of it. You know it's probably not, it's a little bit like overly done, but it's good stuff. Man, ain't nobody passing up lasagna. Like, somebody's going out to have some fun. Ain't nobody passing up lasagna. Ford's kind of like a salad, but you know the phrase, like, you ain't never gonna make friends by bringing salad to the party. Like nobody goes to a salad barbecue. Like, ain't nobody, like on the 4th of July, did you have a salad bar or did you have burgers and hot dogs, right? I mean, I want something that had a soul on my grill. I don't want to be like picking broccoli out of my grill. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not how it doesn't. So look, what was I talking about? Okay, you understand what I'm talking about. It blows my mind that Dodge would even, the nostalgia thing. So how are they going to market? Like, think about this for a minute. How are you going to twist this around? You've been shoveling nostalgia for so long and building your brand around the 4-letter word of Hemi. How are you going to then completely switch gears and Aikido this thing to the point where, okay, we know it's fake, but we got to market this somehow. And putting a flashy inline six with a lot of what sounds like interesting and impressive statistics, but then in real practice does no good whatsoever when it comes to stirring up emotion, when it comes to actual performance, when it comes to the actual theater of the driving experience, which Dodge does better than anybody else. But when it comes to that, how do you, as a marketing team, adjust and switch gears? Do you try to make something of nothing with the nostalgia? You can't do that. So now you go, okay, now we're looking to the future. This is the future. This is the car of the youth. This is not the old crotchety Mustang. This is the Challenger with the inline six and the electric motors and all this other stuff. That literally goes against the message that you've been sending since 2008, and that you have doubled and tripled down on since 2015 when you set the bar for the muscle car experience with the Hellcat. Nobody asked for the Hellcat. It was a skunkworks project that somehow or another got greenlit. 700 horsepower. Y'all realize that the Hellcat was really never supposed to be over 650, and it was based on the 6.4 liter to begin with. Anyway, lots of stuff there, but the point of this is I'm hoping that Dodge has a solid understanding of their base, which I'm sure that they do. They know what they're selling, and they know what they're outselling more to the point, which is the Mustang. Challenger's just outselling the thing. If you stray too far away from that message and that mission statement, then you only have one direction to go. And you're sliding into that Ford territory, and it's not a good place to be. Because let me tell you something, Chevy tried to play that game, and Ford's teeth are still razor sharp after cutting them on the bones of that Camaro. It's going to be gone again soon. You notice that Ford's not trying to slide into the muscle car category, like you do the air quotes. They're not putting a D-stroke version of the Godzilla motor in the Mustang. They're not trying to out-dodge Dodge. Because they can't win that fight, or can they? But Dodge certainly can't win the fight of trying to out-Mustang the Mustang. Roy, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Saying, what up, Mr. B? I bought that Hellcat part that brings more air through the light. So, oh, good. Yes, the snorkel. It should give me more air with the shaker scoop. Very cool. Yes. So, anything you can do to keep that inlet cool and keep the air stirred up, that's going to be good. But thank you very much for that contribution, brother. Yes. So, the snorkel, good idea. What it'll do is it'll allow the air to come in through the headlight, stirs everything. Just don't forget to take the cap off. Not that you would, but I've seen it. Just remember, you got to just pop. In fact, I've got it. Do I still have it? I thought I did. Anyway, I still have some of the caps sitting around here somewhere. Anyway, don't forget to pop your cap out. I've seen guys, you get into a hurry, you take the top part of it off, take the drink holders off the deal, and they install it. They forget to pop the little eyeball. They got to pop the fake eyeball out of there. But thank you very much, man. I appreciate that, Roy. And it will help. Once you get that thing moving, it will definitely help with it. Let's see. Bear with me here. Oh, Matt's going to put a Hemi Fever tune. Nice. And he likes the Diablo tune. Very cool. Catalyst. Why did Dodge make such a big deal about Chief Donut Maker and now Crickets? Well, now Crickets because who is the guy they picked? Let's be real, okay? If we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it. I don't know who. was the chief donut maker before he did? Was he racing? Was he a drift driver? Was there a YouTube channel that was associated with this guy? Look, Speedy was on there. Speedy would have made a great chief donut maker, but I mean, the guy's technical and he knows what he's doing. I don't know. I don't know what the guy's qualifications were. I didn't even look. I didn't even look or watch or pay attention to the chief donut maker making thing, to be honest with you, at all. You also don't hear anything about the other promotion that they did. So there's that right in why you should get this car, and it's, oh God, that was just embarrassing. Anyway, hold on a second. I gotta condition some air in here. Remote control air conditioners that's the only way to go, man. But yeah, I don't know, man. It probably because, probably because you haven't heard of it, probably because nobody cares, frankly. Like, the guy won and that's it. I wouldn't be able to pick the guy. Like, if I saw him, I wouldn't even know I was looking at him. Oh, Matt's saying, ZF says that's the recommended service interval. Gotcha. 55-ish thousand miles. Probably be a good idea for me to get swapped out my truck. Actually, I should probably do a service on the Hellcat too. Ferg saying, yo, B, what's cooking? What's up, Fred? Matt saying, Dodge says don't touch it, which is crazy. All fluids break down. Yeah. Well, the thing is with the oil, okay, so oil is kind of funny, especially synthetic oil. So in talking to a guy that is really, really in the know when it comes to oil stuff, because he works for the company, and I can't mention names, but anyway, works for the company that makes the base stock for many of the oils that you would use, both conventional and synthetic, and is also a guy that works for same dude, works for a company that recycles a lot of this oil. The funny thing is that the oil itself doesn't really break down. As a lubricant, it just keeps doing lubricant stuff. It's not really the oil that breaks down, it's the additive package. So, and this is for engine oil primarily, not really talking about transmission oil, but it kind of does, it's sort of the same. It's the ad pack that breaks down, because everything in an ad pack for oil is a consumable piece of what makes the oil work. So, let me give you an example. You've got your motor oil, right? So let's say that up to this line right here, that's from here down is all oil, from up here is additive package. Well, in that, and that's obviously a very exaggerated example, but just say this is a percentage, right? Part of what makes the oil work is your base alkalinity number. And what that is just how the oil is slightly alkaline to deal with acids that are created during combustion process. Think of it like you've got vinegar and you're putting baking soda in the vinegar. Remember doing that when you were a kid? And it goes, brrr, and it goes everywhere. It's like, yay, fun. And then you do it again and it makes a mess and it smells like lizard farts, and it's just, but you know what I'm talking about, right? And your mom's like pissed and she's 3 sheets to the wind, anyway, and dad's like, just beer me, I don't know, this is a complete, do that in the garage, and they say, no, don't do it in the garage, and they get an argument, and why'd you fuck my sister? And it's just, anyway, sorry, flash. Anyway, so but that's what ends up happening, right? Is that the base part of the oil does get consumed as it's fighting the acids. So then you lose a little bit of the ad pack. And the list goes on and on. You've got corrosion inhibitors that are in there. You've got all these different components that make up an ad pack that over time do get used and consumed, and that's what goes away. Well, when you change the oil, it's the ad pack stuff that you're really replacing. And there was a point in time. Oh God, I don't want to. I'm going to feel like I'm making this up. It's been a while. Anyway, Dr. Diff might remember this, or it might ring a bell for him. I was young when this was out and about, but it was something to do with synthetic oils, and all you did was you were adding like additive package to existing oil in the crankcase. Anyway, it's a terrible idea because as ad pack stuff is consumed, it then can affect the oil itself, which is what I was trying to get to. As the additive package is consumed, then it alters its state. In that altered state, that's when it's not protecting its well. The carrier oil is still good. It's the additive packet, it's broken. The fact that it's broken down is the problem. So, Marco's got the high five. I like it. Sorry, that little weird rabbit hole. BB saying, hey B, considering the rear seat delete, do you notice any real driving difference? Yes, I do. So when you do the rear seat delete, a couple of things will be real obvious to you real quickly. Inside the car, noise goes up. And it's not really like the same as if you tried to lower the rear seats, because you can't in a Challenger, which is stupid. But the interior noise of the car does go up. As far as actual performance goes, it's hard to tell you a seat of a pants difference with 45 pounds ish of weight being out of there. But I can tell you from an aesthetic and just throwing stuff in the back, I like it a whole lot more with the rear seat delete. In fact, I would argue that's really how that car should have come, just in general from the factory. But it's a 45 pound weight savings, so there's that. It's a little bit louder, and those are the two things that I noticed right away. If you got the Harman Kardon sound system, that's a little bit louder too. Superior Fit saying, dealer told me today they're making a 909 horsepower E85 from the factory, talking about that next year. So the way that it looks is the way that system is going to work, from what I'm being told, is it's going to work. I'll put it to you like this. If you're familiar with the GM system, where it's got a actual sensor to see what the content of the 85 is, if you are familiar with that, then that, from what I'm being told, is going to be very similar, if not identical, to how the Dodge system works. Now, that being said, that would be the way to do it if they're going to go with this E85 thing. And it works like a charm with the GM stuff. And if Dodge did some concurrent evolution with their own operating system, then it would work great in the Dodge too. Right now, that's not how the Dodge systems work. And I'm afraid that it wouldn't work very well for the Hellcat platform with just as much racket as that thing makes. It could potentially make it difficult to make a system that is inferring knock work with the 85 as a flex tune type thing. It's really more either or with the Dodge, which is why you have a high octane button for the Demon. Same type of idea. But there's not really a sliding scale there, and I don't believe the Dodge is either. There is a patch in HP tuners to try to integrate a flex fuel technology. What's up with me doing air quotes, man? What the hell is wrong with me? Anyway, to integrate those two systems together. It's more of a patch though, and I don't know if anybody's really got it to work well. There are systems that are in aftermarket systems that incorporate the GM sensor as a flex fuel option for fuel tuning. But the problem is that you can't, there's no option for timing in there. It just doesn't work like that. So anyway, there, we'll see. But from my understanding, that is what it's going to look like. And if that is the case, that's going to be it's going to be a bombshell, because that would mean that potentially there's some backwards, like some waterfalling of that technology. And if you could make that technology work in a Hellcat, that would make something like a setup like mine over here, that would make Chandelier a prime candidate, because I mean, it's stock boost. It's not going to get a ton of power out of it, but at least I can take the advantages of the oxygenating portion of the E85 and make a little bit more power. Not a ton, but a little bit. Chuck saying Ben used to fry up some sausage. Man, I was just cooking last Friday, as a matter of fact. Cooked for about just shy of 50 people. And I had kielbasa's, baby. Anytime I'm on a grill, you can believe I'm gonna have kielbasa's on that bad boy. Just y'all make sure you clean your grills. 6.2 Hemi power. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Saying, hey, Dr. Mason, I just went catless and have about 3,000 miles on the setup. I recently just popped a P2096 post catalyst bank 2 with no CEL and AFR normal at wide open throttle. Is this something I should worry about? So probably not. Is it in your tune? Do you have all the parameters clicked to make sure that you are not activating bank 2 post catalyst? You should in the tune. It's nothing really to worry about. The rear O2s are just a validation thing. There are things in your tune that you need to change that will, in essence, keep the rear O2s ready. They don't ever become an active part of the whole exhaust monitoring community at that point. But make sure you have those turned off in the tune. If you don't have a way to turn them off in the tune, then you're probably just going to pop that 2096. Even if you clear it, it will probably pop up pretty quick again. Hellcats are really, really, really goofy cars when it comes to, are they going to throw the code or are they not going to throw the code when you run a catless mid pipe, when you run a different thermostat. PO126 is the one that I think, if I'm getting my numbers right, hopefully I am, is the one that'll pop up for the thermostat. Chandelier ran around for a year, and it never did pop the code, and that was a lot of key on engine off cycles in this case. Never did pop the code until one day it did. It was just kind of finally made it to the party. But no, if you're truly catless and you don't have a tune on the car, and it really won't make a difference on how the car runs either, so don't sweat it. Just remember too, hang on a second, let's see. I'm guessing you do have a Hellcat. And again, yeah, if it's no tune, it's just something you're going to be looking at until you get it turned off. Or black electrical tape. I'm going to catch back up with you guys. Hang on. Oh. Oh, and again, thank you, Roy. I appreciate that a lot, but I really do. Thank you, man. Roy's saying a scat pack. Oh, yeah. No, you're good. Definitely. Chuck saying, question on my 2021 scat pack B, is the halo side light an air hole? It looks like there are black caps in both halo lights. The air intake is closed. Yes. So you can, I do not have, hang on, where, I could have sworn I had some caps over here, guys. What did I do with them? Oh, here they are. Here's a couple of them actually. So here's the thing. That's the cap. And you can see how they just kind of clip in and pop in there. So what you do is you just basically pop that thing out, and they sit just like that. So in the headlight. with the halo around it. So all you got to do when you pop that out on the driver's side, that would be the side that you would hook up to, say, a Hellcat airbox lower, and then you just put the snorkel in there, and it works like a charm. It's the setup that you'll always hear me championing. That setup with either a Hellcat, which is the Mala filter, and I've actually got, I've even done all the math on that thing. It flows about 1100 CFM. But that would be the filter I would use the Hellcat filter or a K&N filter, or the green filter for that matter. For racing, if you're dailying the car or driving it a lot in general, just use the Hellcat filter. You're not going to outflow that thing. In fact, it flows dirty what the Scat Pack filter flows when it's clean. Can't tell by looking, but it's really that good. What you do is just the lower box is super easy to swap in and out, and it's cheap, super cheap. It's like 80 or 100 bucks or something like that for what you get. It's really good. Get that in the snorkel, you're good to go. Nothing to it. Just make sure you pop out the cap, because on more than a few occasions, cars would just be in there. Guys would, you'd just be kind of looking a car over, and this is something that you really don't pay attention. I probably missed this a few times too, just because I wouldn't really, it's just another car in the shop. But you would see the Hellcat airbox and the snorkel hooked up to the backside of the light, and look in the front and the cap's still there. So I got into the habit of, whenever I would see that in the NA cars, I would just make sure that the snorkel was, or that the cap was off. And you race with your buddies, every once in a while you might wager, a hot dog or a, whatever. Kind of fun to have one of these in your pocket, especially if they have a Hellcat. And just, not that I've ever done it, but I guess you could do it. Gallus is saying Dodge Edsel, that's what we need. Yeah, you heard me going off on that one day. Sovereign saying, hey, B-Mason, what's up, Sovereign? Sovereign saying, on the phone, but I'm here. That's all that matters. White Knuckle saying, would I be coming in late? What are you saying, sub, Sovereign? John the Baptist, I love that name. Say, which motor do you prefer regardless of platform, the 5.2 Predator and the GT500, or the 6.2 Hellcat or Redeye motor? Ooh. Okay, so the GT500, that one, good platform, really strong engine. Here's the thing, so from an engineering standpoint, it's great. I think that it could use a better supercharger, frankly. But here's the thing. Predator's backed up by a transmission that I simply would not buy. I am on record as saying, if that car would have come with a beefed up 10-speed automatic, I would have bought one. It would be sitting right behind me over here. And they didn't, so obviously I didn't. So I think that engine is more or less shackled by a transmission that doesn't honestly do it justice. Now, between the 6.2 Hellcat or the Redeye gets the nod for the stronger pistons and slightly revised camshaft. You can argue whether or not that even makes a difference. It's got a little bit better valve springs, and so it's just a little bit better than the Hellcat in general, which is weird to say because the Hellcat engine is extremely robust. I have seen that platform, not only with power production, I have seen that platform get beaten mercilessly, and came out the other side just super happy. The Hellcat is just like any other engine. It does not suffer bad tunes very well. There's more to that engine than just the engine itself in terms of what adds to just how strong that thing is. It's backed up by arguably the absolute best transmission in the industry without exception, bar none, and including all past, present, and potentially future transmissions that would be behind an internal combustion engine. The HP90 makes the 6.2, regardless of its Hellcat or Redeye. It makes that engine as good as it is. So, man, engines are only as good as what transmits their power, you can argue, in some respects, and that's the position I got to take with this one, because I feel like the 5.2 is handicapped. Like it's a significant handicap with the transmission that's behind it. And I feel like the 6.2 is maybe augmented more by the transmission than it is just with how good that engine really is. And in fact, it is really, really good. Like way better than it really could have been. Red Dog saying, I love lasagna. Who doesn't love lasagna? IG saying, now I'm hungry. Cal is saying, nobody buys a grill to cook tofu. Hell yeah. Lasagna. Slap some shish kebabs on the grill. You know, that's something I haven't done in a while. I haven't done kebabs. I used to do kebabs pretty regularly, too. White Knuckle saying, we don't like no sausage parties. Red Dog, potato salad. There's a place here in town, locally owned joint that I use for event catering. It's expensive, but damn, it's well worth it. They have the best. Now I'm getting hungry. Best potato salad out there. White Knuckles laughing at Chuck. Bratwurst rules. Cook it in beer. So here's the thing. Take your brats. Prefer dark beer. Shiner Bock is the go-to marinade for brats. Boil the brats in the Shiner covered. Boil the brats in the Shiner, boil them, and then grill them. The religious experience that you have will be all the thanks that I need. Red Dog saying, I love me some taters. I don't know, man. White Knuckle saying it was a joke. I don't know, now I'm hungry. Oh, Ardell saying, I've owned Mustang GT50, had a 2016 Mustang GT350, and they are so different from Dodge Challenger, Charger, Power. I own a 2022 Challenger Hellcat, love them both. I love my Hellcat Power, and that's the thing. What is so intoxicating about the Hellcat platform is just how immediate gratification it is. It's immediate torque response. It's immediate tip-in throttle response. 392 and Hellcat both. Hellcat to a certain extent a little bit less, but more at a deeper throttle deeper throttle angle, whereas the 392 is pop 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 real quick. It is a completely different driving experience, and one that, again, from GT350 to Hellcat, they're bookends. You just really can't compare them. Cal saying, I thought the original Hellcat was sort of like a Celine Supercharged 5.7. No, the original Mule engine, in fact, it was found. The original Mule engine was a 6.2 that they were initially using to, I know which engine you're talking about. There was quite a few Supercharged 5.7 variants. Eagle, I think, Eagle Performance was making one. Anyway, the original test of concept was a low boost, I think it was like 5 pounds of boost version of the IHI Supercharger on a 392. God, it's been, where, if I can find the article, I'll try to post it up on Instagram, but it's pretty neat stuff. Red Dog's got, oh, by the way, speaking of which, fun fact, the cam that's in the 392 and the cam that's in the Hellcat, and by default, even the cam that's in the Redeye and the Demon, all have practically identical intake lobes. So that's kind of a weird thing. Well, for sure the Hellcat and the 392. Oh, White saying Celine did make a blower for the 5.7, correct. Chuck saying, what the fuck? How we start talking about food? I know, right? Roy saying, I will take the cap off for sure. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised a lot of this stuff. So when you work at a shop, when you're around this stuff a lot, you see a lot of things. You see the things that never ever possibly could fail, that fail all the time. Stock stuff breaks. You know what, man? Stock stuff fails a lot more than you might think. Just food for thought. You ever wonder why I'm a little bit like, I don't know, skittish when it comes to, I'll recommend a modification, but I'll caveat that with a whole bunch of, but make sure you do this, that, and this. Don't do this, and consider this before you do that, because this can. It's because I've seen stuff that never, ever breaks. I've seen it fail, and I've seen it fail spectacularly, or I've seen it fail in a way that just rips your guts out. So know that when I give the advice is because I've seen it fail on the back end. Like you say, basically got a little specific there. Oh, Matt's talking about, the ad pack. Yep, he's even running a tiny bit of zinc additive. Jay Bash was saying, someone let Race Rex know we're talking lube again. He's gonna come poof, like out of nowhere. Malik's saying, is the TA package hood scoop more efficient? I don't know about that. So, man, okay, so here's the funny thing. I've actually thought if I could figure out a way to make it work. I've thought about, because I've got the JLT intake, I've thought about trying to figure out how to incorporate the TA hood scoop snorkel to where it would kind of feed the lidless portion of that JLT. Not that it needs it. But anyway, it just kind of a random passing thought. The problem with the TA is, and I don't have any way to really illustrate this. I kind of do, but I don't. Do I have any? Okay, so think of this blue tape here. If you had a pipe that was going this way and this way evenly, where the air box is, there's a jog out and it drops down like that. So it goes, it's very like it drops off of a cliff. Okay. I guess a better way to illustrate that would be here. Let me try doing it with these two smoke detectors that don't work anymore because of reasons. Okay, so if these two, imagine these are pipes that are all together, it actually drops down kind of like that and then goes over. It's a weird, like, I don't know how it flows very well. I don't know if it flows very well. I don't know if it's a flow impediment at that horsepower level. But anyway, there is a spot where it kind of does that. I've looked at it. I don't think it's a flow problem, but it's just a weird change of plane, so to speak. Change of direction for the air like that is usually something air doesn't like to do at any real velocity, especially when it has to go up like that. Or, you know what I mean? It's just such a drastic change. But I like the idea. I think the idea is really good. I think it could have been, well, I know it could have been. It could have been engineered in a way to where it didn't have the restrictions in it. Anyway, just something that I've noticed. But I've tried to think about ways I could incorporate that, but it just really wouldn't help my situation at all with it being a Hellcat. So, Gary Payne, hello everyone. Sorry I'm late. Work life. I understand that. Chuck saying, he needs to fry up some sausage. Roy's saying, hey Gary. Mike saying, speaking of intakes, is the induction noise a lot more noticeable in a cold air intake compared to a normal air box with a Hellcat lower? Not really. No, not at all, actually. You probably wouldn't notice it too much. You may notice it a little bit with maybe something like a K&N or a green filter, but for the most part, no. I didn't notice any real difference. 60 Hemi Power saying, by the way, the chief donut maker disaster is silent because the winner made several videos bashing Hellcat Redeye products and their owners then deleted all of them. Really? Huh. How am I not surprised? Gary's saying, hanging out with Royce. He runs the SRT Hellcat upper lid as well. Does need a little molding, but helps out as well with the fast man throttle button. Very nice. Scatpack 392 is in with the flex. I like it. Gary's hanging out with Roy, saying some pictures are on his Instagram. Very cool. Oh, Dan saying, I know you talked about the operating system on the 19 and up Scat Packs being better. Yes, I'm convinced that it is. Was just wondering if it's the same on the 19 and up RTs. I have a 22 Challenger RT 8-speed, probably because it has a lot to do with cam phasing. So yes, I would say if there's any change in that, I would think that there would be some in the later model 5.7s. I can tell you this, the 5.7s that I have driven, the later ones do seem to run better. So I don't have any dyno, I don't have anything on a dyno to actually qualify that statement, but I can tell you that the butt dyno would agree with everything that I'm saying. Oh, Roy's hanging out with Gary. Waiting to get it to the track. I like it. Mike G saying, random question for Mason or anyone in the chat. I work in retail auto parts. Any advice you could give me to not come off as that guy when helping people get their parts? I mean, that guy is typically the guy that doesn't know specific things about cars in general. The thing that will annoy somebody is if they ask you for a specific part or they give you a part number and the questions start coming. I mean, can't you just look up the part number? The main thing is if your system that you're working with, if you have to ask specific questions, just communicate that. Say, listen, for me to get into my system, I have to qualify the part with these specific questions because, and you guys know this, a sensor, an air temperature sensor could be specific to a specific year. It could be specific to a specific fitting. It could be, there's a lot of little specifics. So just talk to them and let them know why you're asking the questions if that's the case. Oh, and Mike's saying it'd be someone people actually want to talk for parts. The main thing is just educate them. A lot of times the guys that go in there, they're being told what to get. They're looking something up on the internet. They may or may not have a lot of experience. Just talk to them. Talk to them about their build. I ask them if they're asking for a specific part, and they say no, it's not for that car. I just need the part. Then they're working on like a swap type of a situation, or who knows, right? It could be anything. Just talk to them about the combination that they've got, and if nothing else, just try to answer the questions as best you can. But if you have specific knowledge on what they're working on, try to give them that advice that works for you. Because a lot of times, like I say, these guys, they think they know, but they don't know. They know about half of what they need to know, and the other half they don't know. And then there's this other part that they really should know if they're going to be working on it at all. Because if they don't know what they should know, they don't even need to bother knowing what they don't know, because even what they do know is not going to be able to get worked out. So if you were able to catch up, keep up with that, then you know it works out. Okay, great. So Sovereign saying, still hear me? What's up, Sovereign? Ardell said, Racer X got invited to Roadkill and Ice. Yes, he did. We bring you guys some live content once he gets up there and gets working with those guys. Derek's asking if 5.7 we're toying with. Yeah, absolutely. Within reason. I mean, you don't want to, take it totally too far. I'd say headers, exhaust, a tune. Yeah, sure, man. They can be a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun. Just keep them in the right context. They can be a whole lot of fun. X is in. Flexing it. 6-2 saying, here's the video, I saved it. Oh, did you? Oh, it might not let you, it might not let you post up here, but really, so he's bashing a bunch of, that's hysterical. What's funny, so I would probably not get the nod because I don't take any of my videos down, really, and especially when I'm trying to give them solid marketing advice. This guy's out talking shit and gets to get 150 large and drive around. What a fucking joke. Anyway. Plus, I'm yammering on about this stuff. Guy probably. Anyway. Oh, Gary's saying, talking to Roy saying, you'll enjoy it. I took mine completely stock, full weight from the dealership at 500-mile break-in mark. Ran 3 times on stock tires just for base numbers. After that, I recommend tires first, for sure. Yeah, tires are going to be your absolute new best friend when it comes to this platform. These cars, they make a lot of torque, man, and they're going to be tough to get off the line. No question about it, unless you have a good set of tires underneath it. Practice, practice, practice. Don't forget that consistent practice is what yields the best results. So it's not really doing one thing or another. It's just learning, basically getting a butt, foot, eyeball, hand connection going with your car. Once you get that going, the rest is pretty easy. It's just a matter of doing it and then doing it over again, and you'll get it down. Play, that's the other thing. Don't take it too seriously. Get out there and just have fun. But speaking of get out there, I've got to get out of here because I got to wake up crazy early. But with that, guys, I do have to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody out there for hanging out with me tonight. Let me scroll back over here. 6-2 Hemi Power, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Roy, as always, thank you, brother, for the contribution to the cause. And hang on, let me make sure I'm getting everybody in here. It's funny, I've got my direct connection sign that's got glared up here in Catalyst. Thank you, buddy. I do appreciate that. Make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. Thank you all very much for the support, guys. I really, truly appreciate it. But with that, guys, I got to wake up crazy early, so I got to wrap it up. Guys, get out there and do something cool for somebody. Chances are they need it way more than you know. Love each and every one of you guys. Would not do this without you. We will see y'all on the next one and maybe have an announcement on whether Stormy's going to be a Ford or a Dodge. Kind of leaning towards that Ford right now. So anyway, guys, y'all have a great one. That is a wrap. Adios.